Imagine you're standing on a fault line. The ground rumbles. It's a magnitude 4. Nothing collapses, nobody dies. And somewhere in your head, a little voice says, "Good, at least some of that pressure is gone." That voice is wrong. On June 24, 2026, Venezuela was hit by not one but two massive earthquakes, a 7.2 and a 7.5, just hours apart. Buildings crumbled, communities vanished, and millions of people across the Caribbean felt the ground split beneath them. Now, here's the part nobody's talking about. Venezuela had been experiencing small tremors for months before the big ones hit. The ground was shaking constantly, and it didn't matter because small earthquakes don't prevent big ones. They never have. And if you live in the Philippines, a country that sits directly on the Pacific Ring of Fire, this is something you need to understand before the next one hits. Let me break this down. The idea that small quakes release pressure and stop a major earthquake from happening, it makes intuitive sense, like a pressure valve on a boiler, right? Let off a little steam so the whole thing doesn't explode. The problem is the math, and the math is brutal. According to the United States Geological Survey, it would take 32 magnitude 5 earthquakes to equal the energy of just one magnitude 6, 1,000 magnitude 4s, 32,000 magnitude 3s. Let that sink in. 32,000 small earthquakes to match one moderate one. Now think about the magnitude 7.8 earthquake that struck Mindanao on June 8, 2026, the one that killed at least 35 people and triggered tsunami warnings across the region. To equal the energy released in that single event, you would need roughly 1,000 magnitude 5 earthquakes, or over a million magnitude 3s. The Philippines records thousands of small earthquakes every year. FIVOX monitors them constantly. And yet the big ones still come. The 1990 Luzon earthquake killed over 1,600 people. The 2013 Bohol quake destroyed centuries-old churches. The 2022 Abra earthquake left thousands homeless. If small quakes actually prevented big ones, those disasters wouldn't have happened. We would have the safest country on earth. Here's what's actually going on under your feet. The Earth's crust is made of massive tectonic plates that are constantly grinding against each other. The Philippines sits at the boundary of four major plates: the Philippine Sea Plate, the Eurasian Plate, the Pacific Plate, and the Indo-Australian Plate. That's not one fault line, that's a collision zone. Every day, stress builds up along these plate boundaries. The rocks lock together, pressure accumulates, a small earthquake happens when a tiny section of the fault slips. But that slip only affects a small area, maybe a few meters, maybe a few hundred meters. The rest of the fault remains locked tight, still building pressure. Think of it like a zipper. If one tooth of the zipper pops open, the rest of the zipper is still closed. You haven't fixed anything. You've just revealed where the weakness is. In fact, recent research from UC Santa Cruz found that small earthquakes can actually disrupt underground stress patterns in unpredictable ways. They don't just fail to help in some cases, they can make things worse by redirecting pressure to other sections of the fault that weren't under as much stress before. So why does this myth persist? Partly because it's comforting. Nobody wants to believe they're sitting on a ticking time bomb. When the ground shakes and nothing breaks, it feels like a win. It feels like you dodged something. But you didn't dodge anything, you just experienced a reminder that the fault is active and the next one could be worse. Japan understands this better than almost any country on Earth. They sit on the same ring of fire we do. They get small earthquakes constantly, and they are currently preparing for what seismologists call the Nankai Trough earthquake, a projected magnitude 9 megaquake expected within the next 30 years. Government estimates say it could kill up to 300,000 people. Japan isn't relaxed because they feel tremors every week. They're terrified precisely because they know the pattern. Constant small quakes along the Nankai Trough tell them the fault is active, not safe, not releasing pressure, but active and building towards something much bigger. The same applies to the Philippines. Those small tremors you feel in Davao, in Manila, in Baguio, they're not releasing anything meaningful. They're reminding you where you live and what's coming. Here's what actually matters. Instead of hoping that small earthquakes are saving us, we should be paying attention to what they're telling us. They tell us which faults are active. They tell us where stress is accumulating. They give seismologists data to improve early warning systems. But they don't buy us safety, only preparation does. Know your evacuation route, have an emergency kit, understand whether your building meets earthquake safety codes, and stop believing that a magnitude 4 rumble means you're off the hook because the math says otherwise, and the math doesn't care what feels comforting. The Venezuela doublet earthquake didn't happen because they ran out of small quakes. It happened because the Caribbean and South American plates had been building pressure for years, and on June 24, 2026, they let go. The Philippines will have its turn. The only question is whether we'll be ready when it does.